Now let's go back up to the problem that we did. If you notice, one of the things that we can do to be able to find the slope, how many go up and to the side, is the difference or the vertical change, or how much did it rise? What is the change between the 4 and the 1? If you notice, the difference between 4 and 1 is 3. That gives you the y. The difference between the x's is the 4 and the 2. That gives you the 2. So that's how we get our equation for the slope. The difference between the x's, the y's, over the difference between the x's. So it'll be 4 minus 1 will be 3. 4 minus 2 will be 2. So let's go over to example number 3. I hope that made sense. If it didn't make sense, don't worry about it. We're just going to be using our slope formula to be able to find the slope when they give you 2 points, just like on example number 3. Let's write down the formula on the left hand side once again, so we have it at hand. Let's say the slope, which is m, is equal to the slope is m is equal to y2 minus y1, the difference between the y's, over x2 minus x1, the difference between the x's. We know that this is x1, this is xy, xy, this is the first point, this is the second point. Now, I like to make my life easy, so we're going to make this as easy as possible. Let's write down m. We know that the y's have to go on top. So I want you guys to circle the y's, which is the 1 and the negative 5. Those will go on top. Now, it says y2 minus y1. But we're going to ignore it. We're just going to place the y's on top. It doesn't really matter the order that you place them, as long as you are consistent with your work. We're going to place the 1, the first y first. The second one, because the formula says minus y. Because the formula says minus y. That means the opposite of the second y. So instead of a negative 5, will be a positive 5. And the same thing works with the x's. Don't worry about x2 and x1. You can ignore it. We're going to place the first x first. Then on the second one, because the formula says the opposite of the second x, this is a 1, this will be negative 1. So from here we can just simplify it, and that will give us 6 over 4. We can reduce. So divide by 2 gives you 3 over 2. Let's try the second example. First, let's go and write down our m is equal to, go be a fraction. I want you guys to circle the second number, 4 and negative 5. Remember, second number are your x's, which are going to go on top. Will be 4. The first one stays the same because of the formula says negative y. So the first y minus the second y, we're going to place the opposite, so it'll be a positive 5. That's a negative, we'll place that as a positive. Same thing with the x's. The negative 4 comes down. This is a positive 2, so we've got to write down a negative 2. So from here, that'll be 9 over negative 6. From here, we can reduce it. So positive divided by negative, we know it's going to be a negative. We can divide the h1 by 3, so it gives you 3 over 2. So that is your slope. And the last one, m is equal to, draw the line, circle your y values, the second number. We're going to place them on top. That'll be 1. This is a positive 3, will be negative 3. On the x's, this is a 1. This is the positive 5, will be a negative 5. So subtract, that gives you negative 2, negative 4. Negative and negative will be a positive, so your slope is going to be positive. Reduced by 2, so it gives you positive 1/2. Go and try example number 4 and see what you get. We can compare answers in a second. Pause it. Great. On example number 4, we have to find the slope once again. There we go. So m is equal to, circle the y values which will be going on top. There will be 2. This is a negative, so be a positive. Remember, the second number is the only one that's the opposite. We have 5. This is a positive, will be a negative 5. So it gives us 4 over 0. Now, remember that we cannot have a 0 on the denominator. So that will be no slope or undefined. Undefined means that we don't have, it's not defined, so we have no slope. It's not possible. Let's try B. Circle the x values. If you haven't done it, go and pause it, and then we can continue on. Pause it. Great. M is equal to, there'll be 3. This is a negative 2, will be positive 2. The x is on the bottom. This is a positive 3, so be a negative 3. From here we can simplify, so it'll give us 5 over negative 2. Remember to keep the sign of the bigger number. We can now reduce, so we can just leave it as is. I know it's an improper fraction. You do not need to change it to a mixed fraction. You can just leave it as is. And the last one. M is equal to x values first. So that'll be 4. This is a positive 1, so it'll be minus 1. The x is on the bottom. This is a negative 3. This is a positive, so be a negative. If that was a negative, we'll switch it to a positive. Remember, the only one that gets switched is the second number. Just because of the formula says opposite of y, opposite of x, only on the second number. So that'll give us 3. That'll give us a negative 7. We cannot reduce. Now remember that even though the negative is on the bottom, this is a positive divided by a negative will be a negative 3 over 7. It's exactly the same. So don't get confused whether the negative is on the bottom or on top. You get exactly, as long as they're not both negative, because if both of them were negative, that would be a positive answer. Great. Thanks so much. Please email me if you have any questions. Have a great day, and thanks so much for taking the time to listen to the lesson. Have a great day.